Are you down, did it down, did it down, did it down, down, down? Down, did it down, did it down, did it down, down, down? Are you down, 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 down? Are you...
Good morning, Leah.
Hi, thanks
How
for
are
having
you?
me.
Thanks for coming. I think it's not too far from the office, right?
No, we're a few minutes walk. Less than 10.
Great.
Yeah.
So you work at Monday, right?
I do.
Is it Monday or Monday.com?
It is both. We go by Monday.com to really differentiate it from the day. But in conversation, we can say Monday.
Monday, yeah.
Yeah. Especially in Israel. It's easier in Hebrew.
Great. So you're the head of communications,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Which means?
Depends on the day. I came in to really focus on PR. That was my top priority. They, as a company, Monday, which was then depulse, hadn't really focused on building relationships with media so much. So that was my top priority. But being a startup, no day is the same. So we work a lot on how we define what we do, who we define what we do to, everything from, English copy or things that happen in the platform to how we express ourselves externally. And my primary focus is external.
Okay. And before I ask more about what you do and
Yeah, sure.
how does it connect to communities, maybe tell our listeners in a few words about Monday.
Sure. Monday is a team management platform that manages the core of your business. So you do anything that has to do with what you do in the workplace in the platform. So we use it for communicating, collaborating, high-level planning. As a manager, if you want to be aware of what your employees are doing, it's a great resource, not to spy on them in any way, but to be able to have an eye on what's going on and to really give them the support that they need. So when you are going through the planning process of a project or anything like that, you can check in and see what people are doing and give them a thumbs up or comment or edit or anything, and it stays all totally in context. So it's great for any kind of work process.
Okay. Now, you were saying about the fact that you work at a startup.
Yes.
And we can say that every day is different.
Yes.
And your,
Yes, we can.
your responsibilities are changing,
Yes.
right? Do you have a community manager?
We don't have a community manager in a traditional sense. Are you asking like social media related? Like that kind of community manager?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
We can talk about what a community manager is.
Right.
And last week, you spoke at ISCL Summit, right? Which is all about startups communities.
Right.
So maybe I'll ask a different question. How do you define your community at Monday?
So community is a super, super important word to us. And we have, I think, 3 primary ways that we focus on community. One is the community that we create for any of our users, the teams that use our platform. By using the platform, you create a sense of community, and we can sort of get into the specifics of how. We've also built a very strong community between us, the Monday.com team, and our users. So we have a Facebook group that's literally called Monday.community to show you the emphasis of community.
It was the Addict?
It was Addicts, exactly. And when we became Monday, we changed it to Monday.community. It's about 4,000 people that our entire company interacts with all the time. So people are encouraged to ask questions, to share tips, to really express anything that they want to about the platform. And everybody from our CEO and CTO down to the customer success team or anybody along the way, the customer success is sort of the most natural sometimes to be answering those questions, but anybody interacts with everybody. So it's great. It's great that way. And then the other sort of third community is what we have created.
Before?
Yeah, of course, sure.
About this community, which is interesting. What is their incentive to be a part of this community?
Our users?
Yes.
I think it's a super unique direct channel to ask any questions that they want or to request features or to speak to other people who use the platform to learn tips and ways of how to do it. It's one place where you can have access to anybody and everything and get as much help as you can. So really, It's great for us to learn what kinds of features people are interested in or what people are using or where they're having any sort of challenges. And it's great for our users to be able to talk to each other and to us about different things that relate to the tool.
Is it online only?
It is online. So this is a Facebook community. But we, like, customer success is one of our extremely top priorities. So we will get back to you. I think the time now is under 7 minutes, no matter how you reach out. So we have a chat, we have phone, we have email, and it's a super important sort of core of what we do is maintaining that relationship with our users.
Mm-hmm. And do you plan any offline event for those people? I guess they're from all over the world.
Yes, they are. We're in about 145 countries, which is wild. Do we have offline events? Not that I know of outside of meetups here. And that's sort of a different focus. But no, we don't. We have been amazed, though, to see how people connect with each other. So when we created the platform, and I say we, I was not part of that we, but when the tool was created, it was really sort of tech and startup focused. It was a platform for people in those industries. And it grew to now where 70% of our user base are non-tech savvy people. So it is, it's very interesting. It's people from churches doing fundraising or beer companies doing manufacturing or building airplanes. Like, it's people who are replacing whiteboards and emails and meetings and that kind of thing. And so to see how they use the tool is incredibly inspiring to us. We look at somebody who's managing a hotel on Monday.com. Mm-hmm. I don't know how to manage a hotel, but they do. And what's amazing is they can use our tool to manage the hotel. And we've identified that as a major resource. So we're building now sort of a more formal community where people can share screenshots of their boards and an overview of how they're doing what they do so that other people who want to manage a hotel using Monday can do it the same way. So it's something that's a work in progress that we're building now, but it's really exciting because we are not experts in the 200 business verticals that we operate in, but there are people are. So it really helps the onboarding process and helps people get as much as they can out of the platform.
Cool. So we were talking about the users as a community. Yeah. And then you said there is another community.
Yeah. The third I think I would identify is us as a company. I joined a year ago, December, and we were 30-something people, and we're 115 today. Like, it's just a wild.
And still growing, right?
And still growing every day. I was out of the office for 4 days and came back into the kitchen and introduced myself to the people there because I hadn't met them before. It's a very exciting, but it's a challenge to maintain a community feeling amongst us as one team. We just opened an office in New York, and developing a relationship and keeping that feeling of we are one team with them is also a challenge that we're really actively focused on.
And I guess it's a lot about the culture within the company, because
Definitely.
I heard, and I think people in general heard that about Monday, that there is something special in the culture.
I'm happy to hear that. That's great.
Can you tell more about how do you feel as an employee and how is the culture in the community?
Yeah, so it sounds silly, I feel like to say out loud, it is the most incredible job I've ever had.
Wow, congrats.
Yes, I feel that really genuinely. Listen, it's not without its challenges, and I feel those every day too. But it is for the how do I explain? It's you come into the office empowered to do what you want to do. It's a place that really supports you as a person, but also your professional goals. If there's different parts of the company that you want to get involved in, you're encouraged to. Instead of saying, here are the steps to execute what you want to do, you are encouraged to reach an end goal, and it's up to you to figure out how. And for, the right kind of personality, that's a very exciting challenge. It's also a place that really supports failure, which is, as a North American, not necessarily a natural part of a workspace. You aim for perfection and you aim to be very thorough. And I think it was on my first day that one of our co-founders said to me, done is better than perfect. I was like, really? Like, is it? But yes,
wow.
that's the feeling. They were moving so quickly and growing so quickly that you execute and then you learn and then you pivot. So something, if you fail in something, that's fine. Learn from your mistakes and figure out a different way to do it. And we are, amongst the team, really given every resource to do that. And that's a very empowering and exciting feeling as an employee. And I also think our co-founders, and they would not be happy to hear me say it, but they really set the tone. They are very supportive and brilliant, which helps also, to have faith in the leadership. But they also encourage everybody else to be leaders and to get involved in different things. So it's a unique work environment.
Yeah, great approach. How do you communicate?
On Monday. It's true. I interviewed somebody the other day and she was an English speaker and said, my Hebrew isn't very good. What are company emails like? I was like, oh, we don't have any company emails because the entire company is run in Monday.com. So that's where all of our planning goes. And of course, we use WhatsApp for, chat and that kind of thing. Exactly. Yeah. Lunch is here or whatever else happens there.
Now, actually, I want to talk more about the platform as a tool for community managers.
Yeah.
Because I think, at least now, everyone uses Facebook groups.
Yeah.
Or most of the people use Facebook groups.
Yeah.
But, you talk about like projects and assignments and a different way to do things and to manage a community
for sure.
tasks.
For sure.
So it's more interesting to hear about how can communities use the platform.
Yeah. So respond with a question.
Yeah.
When you say community manager, what are you thinking of?
Okay. So it can be a community manager of a startup.
Okay.
Like Waze or Weeks
sure.
or any tech company.
Okay.
And it also can be a community manager of an organization or like nonprofit, social.
Yeah.
Impact.
Awesome. So definitely this is a tool that's an asset to any of those areas. The first thing I think that's most important that differentiates it from other things is keeping all of your communication in context. So with a Facebook group, if you send a message 2 weeks ago, it's at the bottom and people respond and respond and respond and you have to scroll for so long to be able to find what you're looking for. This is a super visual way to see the status of different things and it keeps everything in context. So our primary function is a board, which some people can say is a much nicer, more interactive version of Excel. It runs in columns and rows, and you can organize it however you see fit. So if you are planning a project for yourself, you set up, your rows and your columns, and you can use colors to adjust the statuses. So you can know just by looking at it, just by logging in and seeing, oh, I'm stuck on this, I'm working on this, so-and-so is responding to me on this, and you can see top level where everything's at. And then you go a step deeper. You can click into what is called depulse. That was based on when the name was depulse, and we've stuck to it for now. You can communicate with people. So you can tag people similar to Facebook. You can thumb something up similar to Facebook. And if ever you're searching for something, we have more than two, but at least two search functions where you can search by word or you can search by this specific board. So it lets you plan in a super visual way and interact with people in a super visual way. If you're communicating with other people, we have an external function where you can do a shareable board where you can invite people to your board and everybody can communicate in this one place. So it's a real asset for planning. You can also upload files and share Google Docs. People still use Google Docs, but you can keep the link there and keep any commentary super easy to find.
And what about discussions? Or chat.
Yeah. So we don't have a live chat function, something like Slack. And I don't think we ever will. I'm not sure, but I don't think we ever will. And the thinking behind that is context. So if you want to follow up on something or you don't want to remember what was happening a week ago, everything is there. So we, for us, the way we solve sort of the chat thing is by creating a board called Talks, which is basically a room for people to chat freely, a space for people to chat freely, but you're entering in and sending a message that then stays. So you can go back and see it in context, but you're encouraged to sort of chat freely, but not in a way where everything gets lost.
Cool.
Yeah.
What did you do before Monday?
Yeah. So tech is new to me. I am so not from the tech world. When I was in university, I was very sure I wanted to be a lawyer. And then I started to look at what a career as a lawyer looked like and said, oh, actually, that's not what I want to do. What do I want to do? And it required a bunch of sort of self-reflection. And I decided I would really like to write and read and build campaigns. And it led me into the communication space. So I went right back into school and did a graduate certificate in public relations. It was like a PR sort of boot camp to learn how to write press releases and to learn how to build campaigns. And from there, I went to DDB, which is part of the Omnicom group. It's one of the largest advertising firms in the world, in their PR group, and had an incredible experience there. I learned everything. And they also had a sort of teach by throwing you into the deep end strategy. So I had clients and campaigns of my own and decided, wow, this is really what I love to do. I was there for 3 years and then chose to go back to school. I did a master's at NYU in media and communication, hoping that I would really be inspired by one area. So I took classes in business, I took classes in journalism, communications theory, and then realized, oh, I actually really like all of these things, which is a blessing and a curse because I didn't really know what I wanted to do. So I pivoted at that point and went into public affairs. So taking the communications background and applying it to nonprofit, government issues, causes, that kind of thing. And also had a great experience. I was with a firm in New York for about 3 years too. And when we had the opportunity to move here, I stayed consulting for that firm while we were in transition phase and knew I wanted to get involved in a startup. And when I had the opportunity at this, strangely named place called depulse, I recognized not only that it was a very special place, but how much a communication strategy could help the company, and was given the opportunity to build and jumped on it. And it's been a wild ride since. Yeah.
Yeah, it sounds like a journey.
Yeah, that's one word for it. Yeah, no, it's been amazing. And it's really, growth comes with such positives, but it also comes with major challenges. And for anybody that's building a community, externally, internally, growth is hard, especially rapid growth, because when you're, 30 people, 50 people even, you can know everybody and maintain a relationship with everybody and keep everybody on the same page. But as you grow, you really need to decide on what's important and what you want to maintain and support people to grow, but also to maintain that culture. And Monday, is an incredible tool for that. That was actually the inspiration for building the tool. And it's maintained that core function.
And you studied communications and you work in what you studied, communications and PR and people. Yeah. And it's interesting for me to understand, you lived most of your life in North America. Yeah. And then moving here. Yeah. How is it for you to adjust to a new environment and communities? Or did you have any communities back there that you kind of left? Yeah, for sure. So my primary places I lived, I grew up in Toronto in Canada. I was in New York for 5-6 years and then came here. And each of those phases are so different. When you're living in a community like Toronto where my entire family is there, and I went to elementary school and then high school and then to university with very similar core group of people, to leave that and to go to New York was a big step, a great step, and one that I treasure for sure. But it's breaking out of the community you grew up in is a choice, and coming here was one step further. What I will say though is Tel Aviv, Israel, the community spirit here is not even necessarily in the community that you're a part of. I feel it all the time. You meet people who
you inevitably have common people in common with. And, the way that you interact with people is almost as if you know each other. Like you skip that first phase of sort of introduction because we all have this commonality. And so definitely there's a strong sense there. And then the startup community is incredible. I've never been part of such an active, smart, exciting work, professional community. We have people coming into the office all the time just to learn. And we go as Monday.com, we go to different offices to go and see how they're doing things and to learn what we can improve. The meetups are incredible resources for people to just chat and learn and network. And it's an incredible support system. And our co-founders are, born and raised here and will always live here. That's, I think this community, they feel very grateful to. And maybe you saw our giant sign on the Eielon. Oh, yeah. But maybe you noticed, but it was that as much, as whatever chatter there was about it, it was really to say, thank you to this community, the Israeli startup, Tel Aviv, whatever community who raised this company and participated in this company and has supported this company. It was really important for us, for them both to know, yes, we changed our name. That's a key message, but also more than that, we really feel, and everybody feels it in different ways, but grateful to all the support and mentorship that we've acquired along the way. There's no shortage of it.
And we talked a few times during this conversation about what a community manager is, or how do you define it?
Yeah.
And also, I think it's so different when we talk about community managers here in Israel, which is kind of a new role, and versus the community managers abroad, or how do you know this role?
So it's something that we've laughed about in the office, because we have often tried to hire for a community manager only to realize that everybody was thinking that we were hiring for something else, So it's a challenge. Not technically. My previous understanding of a community manager role was somebody who managed the social media channels for a company. I think that was sort of what the role was developed to be. But now it's grown into so many different things. And we hired somebody, an incredible person recently, who initially was called a community manager for about a day. And then we realized it was so misinterpreted that was not at all what she was doing. And so to us, her role, she's now called the head of a startups initiative. Mm-hmm. And what she's doing, and
Leah,
exactly, which is totally sort of unique to anything that we've seen before, is building up an initiative to develop a relationship with startups that are growing, who can learn or are stuck somewhere or want to come in for us, that we can help in any sort of way. So it's called Startups for Startups. And it's our version of community building. And we are by no means experts and are learning all the time. But there's certain challenges that different startups are facing now that our co-founders especially have gone through. And so they're open and willing and wanting to build a relationship with growing startups. And it's a new wave of community building for us. We also have somebody who manages our social media channels and does so in a super, unique and cute and funny voice that is very much us, but she is not called a community manager. And, it's also something that I've found in the Israeli community is titles are not so much a thing in the same way, people. I think it's also in startups because people wear so many different hats in one job, but it's also not as important to really define what you're doing. And as we grow, we're trying to focus on making sure that we do have titles and whatever else, but it's a super flat company, and it's a growing process.
Interesting.
Yeah. No, it's one of the challenges of growing is figuring out who does what and what do we call them. And on LinkedIn, what do you say that you do? Like something as small as that. There's an existential
there are places that
struggle.
Require
exactly
those titles that we don't want to use.
That's right. We were so in denial about wanting to use them. But you introduce yourself. Hi, I am okay, your name and what do you do? You can't answer in 3 sentences, or you shouldn't.
What is your, let's say, main or top community that you feel part in here in Israel?
Oh, wow, what a question. I think it is the Israeli startup community. Mm-hmm. And that's very large and broad, I know, but I, when people ask me what I do, sometimes they've heard of Money.com, sometimes they haven't, sometimes they've heard of depulse and don't know. But they, when you say high tech or startup, like they know what you're talking about. And it's a real, I think, defining feature. Like it affects how we work and where we work and what you wear to work even, Mm-hmm. It's something that's a very sort of unifying challenge. And even in coffee shops when you're sitting and working, most likely the person next to you is working either on their startup or the startup that they work for. Yeah. And you're going through the same challenges. I meet people all the time who just want to talk about, growth or fundraising or things that I knew nothing about before I started working in this space. And my husband works at Deloitte, which is not a startup. And he works on a team that is super involved in the startup space. And so we always joke that this is the closest we'll ever be to being colleagues because we get invited to similar events and we're meeting with similar people. So the overpowering sort of reach of the startup community, no matter where you work, is really powerful.
Great.
Yeah.
So I have one last question.
Sure.
Every podcast ends with this one.
Uh-oh.
So it goes like that. If you have all the time and money right now, what kind of community would you build?
What kind of community would I build? I would, I'm very Monday focused in everything in my brain right now, like that's what I would continue. I would find a way to continue what we're doing at scale. So I would keep the community feeling that we've been able to build mm-hmm. for us as a company, for our users, within the companies that there are teams that use us, and figure out a way to keep doing that as quickly and as effectively as possible. And I was not somebody who knew anything about project management or anything like this before, but I drink the Kool-Aid, they say, and so believe in the values and things that come out of this community that I want to share it with as many people as possible. So it's an exciting place to be, but I see all the challenges that come with growth and want to find a way to keep what's special and unique, but also to spread it at the same time.
Wow, you're so dedicated.
Yeah, that's really how I feel. Like
it's amazing because
it's really how I feel.
Yeah, I mean, I like to see that.
Yeah, it's exciting and it was kind of by accident, like it's we couldn't have known a year ago where we were going to be now, and as we continue, it's exciting.
Leah, thank you so much for coming.
Thank you. It was great to chat.
And enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you. You too. You bet. Are you down?